That's the plan. Now, let's begin. It's your last chance to think about it before Grea reveals the answer. Free your skin. Free your skin. This is no costume. Hands have rope burns on the palms, and there are odd red bumps around the neck and face. What's the first corpse? Corpse. Notable injuries on the bones themselves. Skull has a diamond mark carved into it. It didn't take note of being choked from behind. I think that was the conclusion they came to in the course of the plot. Victor's costume from last year was in the dryer in the laundry room. Slightly scuffed around the collar. Victor was attacked, stabbed repeatedly, had several ribs broken, died on his bed, and had his skin snatched. The diamond mark confirms it because the doppelganger has diamond-like claws, which they use to remove the skin. If we scroll back to Victor's skin, diamond-shaped mark carved into it, because doppelganger used that to remove the skin. Doppelganger also shed the skin, which means that one of these three died and wound up being skinned. Personal phone. Victor's room. Burned out by special Halloween-themed sugar cookies. Only concerned it was a bad habit. That's a curious one. If I recall, Kai arrived first. Blood fresh. Stabby stabby. Stabby stabby. Victor resisted, but doppelganger killed him and skinned him. Victor was in his Halloween costume because he was preparing for Halloween. Doppelganger skinned him. And obtained his costume to boot and shed it because it was bloody and full of holes. That's where I think that where did this come from? I also have the point of Kai. I wrote it off as a quirk of Kai not wanting to be in any way responsible for kicking down the door, but Kai also did not attempt to kick down the door when Grea was kicking it down. So this could have been from either after first killing or second killing and then second killing and then becoming presentable to return to the party. There's also the chance that the Kai who came back from... There's also the chance that Double Victor was waiting in the... Think about this here. That Double Victor was waiting in the laundry room. And then... because Kai went looking for Victor. There is very much a chance that when Doppel Victor... We do have a save from way back with Kai that we can compare side by side. See if anything changed. It's just me being curious to see how detailed we got. I suppose on that detail, this will remain to be seen, but... You will start with the basics. How did our victim die? Let's see the answer. I'm convinced that Kai is the doppelganger. I think that... And my answer to the locked room would be that Kai was only killed when he went to go look for Victor. Which one? We've got two of them. Start with Victor, since I think that his death will be the easier to explain. This will lead us in the right direction. First, take a look at Victor's skin. There are noticeable stab marks around the abdomen, neck, and chest. These stab wounds match up not only with the marks on the skeleton that we found in Victor's room, but also on the costume that we found. It would also explain why the doppelganger would want to seek out someone and kill them non-violently. Because that would give them perfect skin. They just have to hide the diamond mark of the claws. Actually, we could make a pretty fair assumption that Victor was likely stabbed to death. Like, were they just hanging around naked, and then, was Doppel Victor just hanging around naked with his, stabbed skin and shit, and then strangled Kai with a costume? Actually, we make a pretty fair assumption that Victor was likely stabbed to death. Makes sense so far. We didn't even have to look that far to find out where the murder weapon was. There was a sharp, bloody knife right there on the bed. Perfect weapon to make these kinds of stab wounds. Unless we can deduce that Victor was killed while wearing his initial costume by our doppelganger who was wielding a kitchen knife. And here I thought that the corpse we found in the laundry room was Vic. Can't believe I got them mixed up like that. How could I be so stupid? That was just because of the circumstances at the time. It was the first corpse that we found, so it was a natural assumption that it belonged to Victor. But wait, I'm confused. I understand how the doppelganger managed to kill Victor, but what about the second victim? We all arrived together, right? The house was locked shut. We even found Victor's house key inside his costume. That would mean it was locked from the inside, right? How would they have gotten that second victim? Well, obviously, they were probably just waiting in ambush. It even makes sense. If Kai isn't the type to normally scream like that to attract attention, then that gave Kai plenty of time to get strangled. Skinned. Then Doppel-Kai can shout to draw attention to the mess that he left behind. No, they stole Vic's skin and were just waiting in his room for someone to come by. Mia pointed to Bernard and Kai. Both of you were alone for a while, right? Kai went off to look for Vic earlier, then you went into Vic's room after we found the skeleton in the laundry room, Bernard. The killer was to have ambushed one of you two and killed you then. What? You can't pin the blame on me just because I went to check for Vic alone. Yeah, what he said. Can you prove it? What I said makes complete sense, doesn't it? No good at thinking on my feet. Well, I'm sure there's some way to explain it, right? The bloody mess. Bernard looked sheepishly at me, as if hoping I could explain all the problems away. Luckily for him, I could. Not a bad attempt, Mio, but off base entirely. How so? For starters, when Bernard left to go to Victor's room, we had already found the skeleton in the laundry room, remember? Recall the details, it had a broken hyoid bone, but no stab wounds to speak of whatsoever. We already concluded that because of the matching skin, outfit, and skeletal scratches, that the corpse in Victor's room belonged to Victor himself. Thus, there would be no way for our doppelganger to have ambushed and killed a third victim. Phew! Oh, I guess that makes sense. Despite saying that, she turned to face Kai and pointed a finger at him. That just means that Kai was the one who got ambushed. Good work. If Kai was exploring alone, then the doppelganger could simply kill him and then put his body in the laundry room. After stealing his skin, he'd pretend to have found the first body. Oh, yeah, it would definitely make sense if it happened that way. We came to that conclusion way too quick. Are you serious? I didn't get killed. It makes sense. How else would explain the state of the locked house and the murders? I want to be you, Kai, but so far it explains everything. It explains jack shit. First of all, if I were ambushed, I would have screamed or something. I would have put up a fight. I wouldn't go down like a punk, that's for sure. Back me up. If you know the truth, then you've got to know that I'm innocent. You're flailing around like a fish isn't exactly helping your case. Are you serious? But calm down, I already know that this line of reasoning is flawed. How? I just explained everything. Yeah, what Mio said makes sense. I'll admit that it does make sense on the surface, but Mia was skipping a few steps in her line of reasoning. What did I miss? Mio? How did our second victim die? The skeleton we found in the laundry room. That's a fact you failed to mention. Mio's eyes went wide and she smacked her forehead. Oh, duh! Sorry, I just kind of forgot about that. Your forgetfulness almost got me into trouble. It's not my fault, this stuff is hard. Well, go on, give me your answer. Right, you scratch your head for a few seconds and look down at the ground. Hyoid bone, that's around the neck, right? I guess that maybe they were stabbed? I mean, the only murder weapon we found was the knife, right? Doppelganger ambushed Kai, stabbed him right in the neck, which kept him from screaming. They took Kai's skin, brought the knife back to Vic's room, then pretended to find the body. Both Kai and Bernard winced and rubbed their own necks, probably trying to imagine how it'd feel to suffer a death like that. I see. Interesting theory. That would also mean that Mio could hide a neck burn on the skin. One that, unfortunately, is easily disproven. Ugh. That just sounds so condescending when you do it, when you shoot me down. Yeah, no blood. No offense, I just wanted to show you why your line of reasoning is wrong. Kai, if you'd be so kind as to raise your head so we can get a good look at your neck. Sure. Kai tilted his head up and showed off his exposed neck. Notice how there's no obvious knife wound. Shit! Oh, yeah, I guess that would be there, right? Looking at Victor's skin, it doesn't seem like external wounds vanish when the skin is stolen. But... with something more conclusive than that, let me offer you this. I'm certain that the second victim was strangled. Strangled? Yes. Hyoid bone fractures are common in strangulation since you're applying significant force around the neck. In addition, take a look at the victor's skin. Notice the marks on the hands. The others leaned over to take a closer look at the red marks on the palm of the skin. After taking Victor's skin, our doppelganger used something to strangle the second victim. In doing so, the killer left irritation marks all over the palms of Victor's hands. Okay, fine. That makes sense, but it doesn't change what I said. That changes that the killer used something to strangle Kai instead of a knife. What difference does that make? Makes all the difference, because while we were investigating, we didn't find any stray rope, wire, or cord near any of the crime scenes, right? Our killer would have only had minutes to dispose of the evidence. I think we would have noticed a trace of something. Mia went quiet and lowered her head. Then what? I'm just wrong? Yes, but don't look so down. You've given me the best avenue to explain what happened. For I know where the murder weapon is. You do? Well, don't stall. Tell us already. It's in the dryer. I will if you'll all be so kind as to follow me downstairs back to the living room. Mio seemed sullen. Probably because she had her efforts shot down. But I wasn't going to let her foul mood ruin things. You can sulk downstairs. Now let's go. Let them back down to the living room and had them stand across from me side by side. Now look around. Do you see anything that could be used as a weapon to strangle someone? Is it in this room? Yes, it's in this room. Bernard gave the room a quick scan, but then shrugged his shoulders. What really comes to mind? Is it... Are we leaning towards Mio? With the AV cables? Or the nooses? Well, it'd be something you could easily wrap around someone's neck and also hold with both your hands. I say all this, but I can't spot anything that fits the bill. What about you, Mio? Me? I can't really think of anything. Really? Nothing at all? What about the wires that you brought over? Mio averted her gaze from me immediately while the other two turned to look at her. You could easily use those to strangle someone. Mio, don't tell me that you... Shut up! I didn't strangle anyone! All I did with those wires was set them by the television, that's all. But they would be the perfect weapon, right? I had to admit, it was somewhat amusing to see them jump on one another so easily with just a mere suggestion. Are you leading into the Mio accusation, or are you just trolling them? I need to temper my fun before things got out of hand. They would be, but it's not them. Ah, but you just said... I asked Mio if the wires were a possible choice for a weapon. She knows that they are, and that's why she got nervous. Because if you all came to that conclusion, you'd be breathing down her neck, thinking she was the culprit. Yeah, but if you're saying it's not the wires, then what is it? Noose. I pointed up at the ceiling. The case is turned upwards and... Oh! Broken hyoid bone hanging. The case is turned upwards and locked onto the noose decorations that were hanging up from it. True what they say. Humans really don't look up. Oh, the ropes. I feel kind of stupid for not noticing that before. When was Mio alone? You should. You were to start accusing me just because I brought over the wires. But you were accusing us only a few minutes ago. I at least had reasonable logic. I mean, there's always... Like, the few points to consider here. Kai arrived first. Kai and Bernard went around to search the check the windows. So that was an opportunity that Mia was alone for. Where she could have been let in, hung, skin theft, and then left back outside. But that still wouldn't explain the locked door, if that was the case. Partially reasonable. I believe that the rope we're looking for is this one, which were the nooses hanging up in the ceiling, though it was a bit too short to reach it. Luckily, I was able to use my scythe to gently tug it down with the ceiling. So it's not just a prop. No, it's actually a rather handy investigation tool. But it's not good to be reliant on it when basic logic will do. Now for the rope. Once I was in my hand, I began to undo the knots until it was just a single piece of rope. Here, see these frayed portions? These were likely handled by our killer when they strangled our second victim. Hmm. Plus the size of the rope. Plus the size of the rope and marking left in the paw match. This is certainly a murder weapon. Are you able to tell which one of these ropes was the right one? Attention to detail. This one just looked a little out of place. The noose was a bit sloppy and the shape was slightly different from the others. You really got good eyes if you can just tell just by looking. As satisfying as it had been to spot the rope, it was even more satisfying to have my skill acknowledged. Even if it was only by Bernard. Okay, so you found out that the murder weapon was the rope. How does that help us? Use that meatball you call a brain and think for a second. Our second victim was strangled with this rope, which we found in the living room. Then were they ambushed? Ah. Well, they'd have to come back here, in here, and put the rope back up. It was a noose on the ceiling, right? Right. Not only that, you'd need significant time to take the rope, form it into a noose, and then maybe some kind of box or stepping stool to put it up. Now, can you tell me what opportunity our ambusher killer would have had to do all that? I'll do the thinking for you. They wouldn't have had an opportunity. You were with us ever since we first found the body. Therefore, you couldn't have put the rope back up on the ceiling. I always had an eye on Mio, and we already explained why Bernard couldn't be ambushed. Oh, great, so I'm innocent then. Well, I mean, yeah, that's kind of what she was proving for the whole time. It was all just Mio's idea in the first place. Fine, you made a point. Maybe there wasn't an ambush. Then, how do you explain how the house was locked and how we found the key inside of Vic's clothes? How do you explain the death of the second victim? It's rather simple. We've deduced that our killer strangled the second victim with this rope. They only need ample time to reset it afterwards. Oh, before that time. Since no such opportunity occurred after we entered the house, this means that our killer must have strangled the second victim before that time. Oh, whoa. You're saying that the doppelganger killed one of us before we even got here? That's precisely what I'm saying. It's the only logical explanation. Here's what I think happened. God, in hindsight... No, I latched onto the broken hyoid bone as in response to the talk with the nooses. But no, it's just rope burn, which is back to what we originally thought. So, hasn't been really explored, I don't think. We'll see where this goes. My original theory is dead, though, that's all I know. After stabbing Victor to death, our doppelganger stole his skin and then cleaned up their appearance. The bloody singing towel in the bathroom leads me to believe that they were wiping away any leftover blood on the skin of Victor's body. That's correct. Afterwards, they got dressed in the Halloween outfit that they had last year. Oh, because if they were seen with that bloody messed up outfit, it might raise suspicion. After getting all dressed up, they simply had to wait for a second victim to arrive. One of you three. One of you did. Imagine you might have been a bit confused by the doppelganger having put on his previous outfit, but it wasn't enough to look any deeper. The doppelganger, pretending to adjust one of the hanging nooses from the ceiling, took it off and then strangled our second victim. So we managed to loop all the way back to Kai. Alright. After our second victim died, they simply moved the body over to the laundry room, tossed the old outfit into the dryer, and discarded Victor's skin in the attic. Once they'd done that, they removed the second victim's costume, stole their skin, and perfected their disguise. The body that didn't have stab wounds, blood stains, or a damaged costume. The remaining time they had left, they made the noose and quickly hung it back on the ceiling, then took Victor's house key. Once they left, they merely locked the door behind them, went back to the victim's car, intended to arrive sometime later to complete the illusion. When you put it all together, it's a rather simple trick, isn't it? It does make sense. It was confusing since we weren't sure about when the second victim died. Hold on, there's still one problem you didn't explain. How did the key get back into the victim's outfit? And that's where we're going back to Bernard now. Because Bernard went into. We just have the lingering question of why did Bernard go into Victor's room? Oh my god. So at this point I've accepted that I've completely failed at solving the mystery before the point where the mystery was meant to be solvable. But I am enjoying this revelation scene completely, throwing me back and forth now between all three potential suspects. So as much as I failed to solve the mystery, I'm enjoying the ride. I did go back and check once again, and Kai arrived first. So we've looped all the way back around to Kai, which still needs the question answered of how Kai would have gotten the key back into the outfit. In your scenario, the doppelganger would have had the key on them when we went into the house. So how did it end up in Victor's room? They just needed an opportunity to put it inside Victor's bloody costume. Oh, yeah, duh. Why are you looking so spooked, Bernard? We're almost at the finish line. Kai, if Grea is right, then that means there's only 2 people who could have put the key in Victor's costume. Would have had to have been someone who wasn't being watched and could have gone to Victor's room, right? Oh. Why does suspicion always end up back on us? In this scenario, Kai is double Victor, and could have stopped off in Victor's room first to put the key back. Shit, he's coming back around. Well, you only have yourselves to blame. It's not my fault that I felt sick. I went off alone. I asked for the people to come with me. Be that as it may, both of you would have had the opportunity to drop the key off, and thus you two are the main suspects. This is bullshit. Oh, and even after all this, I'm still somehow a suspect? Phew, finally some of the heat comes off me. So how are we going to figure out which one of these two is the fake? That's a good question. Assuming that one of them tracked blood on their shoes, but it seems that they're clean on that end. Our killer has been careful to get rid of whatever evidence that could directly identify who they are. Wait, I have an idea. One of us is strangled by the rope, right? Maybe there'd be some markings on our necks. That's a good point. Maybe they didn't account for that. I showed it off before, but I'll do it again if it proves I'm innocent. Kai raised his head to expose his neck, and sure enough, it seemed completely clear of any trauma or signs of visible injury. I'm fine doing it too if it clears my name. Bernard shows off his neck, and then again, there were no signs of injury. Huh? But at least one of us should have had some kind of injury, right? Yeah, unless Grea was wrong and the rope wasn't used. If you think I'm wrong, then by all means explain what other weapon was used and when. Don't act all haughty because we found a flaw in your logic for once. My logic's not flawed. Not all strangulations lead to visible injuries on the outside. Well, that's convenient. What about our nails? Maybe the victim of the strangulation got some rope or blood on their fingernails when they struggled. You're free to check, but do you think that our doppelganger wouldn't notice something like that? Even so, we might check. Maybe we'll get lucky. You do realize that the 2 of you are wearing gloves, and that Kai has such long fingernails that we'd have likely noticed damage or missing extensions for the costume, right? By my words, they each showed off their hands, and as I expected, none of them had any rope strands, blood, or such in their nails. Their gloves also didn't show any signs of damage. Damn it, what the hell are we left with then? Did we miss something? There has to be something that we can use to identify who got strangled. Maybe we should do another look around the bodies just to be sure? No, there's no need for that. We have everything we need right in this room. The key to determining who was strangled is simple. We just need to figure out who showed up first. It sounds so easy, but we don't have a clue as to who came first. Well, Kai was the first one to show up at the house. At least I saw him already there. Shut up. When he talked about how the killer could have just waited a couple of minutes before showing up. The order we arrived at the house didn't matter. Fine. Grea, just tell us. What do we need to do or show to figure out who's the doppelganger? There we were, at the finale. The final push for the truth, your foreheads. Time for the fireworks. Mio, you personally don't need to do anything except make sure that these two stay in line. We're not going to try anything. Yeah, we want the truth. I bet you'll keep to your word. I won't tolerate anyone interrupting my deductions. Now, there's one piece of evidence that you three have overlooked. Rather, one detail on one piece of evidence that we've already looked at. Do you all remember the small red bumps on the neck and face of the skin? Neck and face. Huh? I was too focused on all the stab wounds. I did see them, but I wasn't really sure how they related to Victor's death. Kai, you seem to be deep in thought. You recognized those bumps, didn't you? Allergy? They weren't from an injury or a bug bite or anything of the sort. Those were hives from an allergic reaction. You told me earlier that Victor had a problem with lemons, which is why you didn't have any drinks that included lemon flavoring or even lemon juice. At first I thought that you were just meant that he didn't like the taste of lemons, but it was a personal preference thing. Just seeing those hives on the skin, I knew that he had an allergy. Yes, that's no secret to any of us. We all knew that he was allergic to lemons. What's that got to do with anything? I believe that one unique trait among doppelgangers is that when they steal the skin off a corpse, they inherit not just their memories, also physical traits unique to the identity they steal. That would mean that while disguised as Victor, the doppelganger also would have been allergic to lemons. That's correct. Our doppelganger didn't give the real Victor some kind of lemon drop before killing him. No, what really happened was that the first guest to arrive gave something lemon-flavored to our doppelganger and triggered an allergic reaction. Something like a food or a drink. Eh? Whoa, I don't have any lemon-flavored food. I knew that Victor was allergic. I wouldn't want to hurt him. Same here. Like hell I'd go and give my best friend something that'd make him suffer. Yet it happened. One of you had nefarious intentions. In fact, maybe you just wanted to play a little prank on your friend. A little trick-or-treat action to make up for all the times he's pranked you. That's just too cruel. Don't despair, it's actually a good thing. It was ultimately an unforeseen complication for our doppelganger. There's no way they could have known that one of you would have pranked him like this. Additionally, they didn't have the time to properly clean it up. With the other guests on their way, the doppelganger would have had to decide the most important things to deal with. Imagine that the lemon-related item would not fall under this. You say that, but what if they did? What if the drinks got dumped into the sink or the food was just tossed outside? Then we'll look for an empty bottle or spare crumbs, but we won't have to do that. Because our doppelganger has left all the evidence we need right here. We're back to Bernard. Walked over to the kitchen to where the unpacked drinks and snacks were left out. You all played your parts, didn't you? You brought over everything that was asked of you. Let's check all these items and see what might just have a hint of lemon in them. The cookies. It's the cookies. Go ahead. I'm confident. I wouldn't bring anything that would hurt Victor. Besides, we already got confirmation from Kai that we couldn't make a whiskey sour. Same here. Look at all the boxes and jars. Not one of them has anything flavored with lemons. Flavored with lemons. Interesting word choices there. First check the snacks, looking over each box, bag, and jar laid out. Occasionally glanced at Bernard as he looked over each package. Potato chips, popcorn, candy corn, chocolate bars, some special brand of Halloween sugar cookie. Victor specifically asked for them. Got a gooey raspberry-flavored center that's supposed to look like blood. Right, well, I can't really imagine anyone making a lemon-flavored potato chip. According to these labels, you're in the clear. Still bad that you didn't share anything with me, either. Sorry. Despite the apology, he seemed relieved that I had gotten off of his case. So, let's take a look at the drinks, then. Maybe Kai reacted so strongly to the not having lemon juice bit that because doppelganger here knows that Kai looked anxious but stood firm in place as I looked over each of the drinks. I see colas, ginger ale, vodka, whiskey, root beer, orange juice. See, there's nothing here that has lemon in it. Everything is... Kai, do you think it would be funny to replace the contents of one of these bottles with just a bit of lemonade? Funny? No, I don't think it'd be funny. I think it'd be hilarious. You wouldn't even need to put much in to trigger a reaction. You could even use something like a squirt of lemon juice. I told you already, I didn't do something like that. I wouldn't. I wouldn't hurt Victor like that. I wouldn't. I wouldn't. Calm down, you drama queen. I know you wouldn't. Huh? I was talking like that to illustrate a point. To do something like that, you need to open one of these bottles first. I mean, yeah, that's obvious. In doing so, you'd break the tamper-proof seal on one of these bottles. Tamper-proof seal? Yes, those tamper-proof seals that snap open when you twist the top off. Each of these bottles still has them on, so none of them have ever been opened. Now that makes sense. On the other hand... Oh, you're teasing me! I walked back over towards the stacks and picked up the 2 cookie jars that Bernard had left on the counter. Bernard stiffened up as he watched me put the cookie jars up on display. Bernard, can you explain to me why this jar over here has its seal open? I don't know what you're talking about. Both of them are still closed. I never even had the chance to snack on them. Right, so you say, but can you hear this? Oh, yep. Little popping noise. Hell yeah. Pressed a finger on the top of each jar. One of them had a distinctive popping sound as the lid bounced up and down. Oh, shit. Yeah. They always put that thing on jars, don't they? Like if it pops up, it means it's been opened. And that jar was opened earlier. Hold on, I didn't open it. It must have been opened by someone at the store. Honest mistake, I just didn't notice it when I was buying it. Just an honest mistake, huh? Yeah, that's all it is. Besides, look at the label on the jar. Those are just normal sugar cookies. If they got opened, all that would happen is that someone would have had a bite to eat of some regular sugar cookies. There's nothing wrong with them. You have an odd obsession over the label of this jar rather than its contents, Bernard. Huh? I'm looking at it closer. It doesn't seem a little out of place, almost kind of rough. It was just peeled off of one jar and put onto another. It's just, I mean, you could prove something like that? It's just a label, that's all it is. Is it a challenge? Well, let's put it to the test then. All this investigating has made me peckish. I'm in the mood for a snack. Bernard was shaking like a feather in a hurricane when sweat was rolling down his face as I unscrewed the top of the jar. Is the answer going to be that Bernard arrived early, gave him tampered cookies to spook him before he could get spooked, and inadvertently got himself killed, and then left and showed up later to change the order that they arrived in? That's what we're coming down to, isn't it? You can't. Jeez, Bernard, just calm down. It's just a cookie. You don't need to get so frantic. Reached down and pulled out 4 sugar cookies. Let's all eat one, everybody. Everyone, I implore you to take one and tell me how it tastes. Yeah. Okay. Walked over to Bernard and placed one in his hand. Eat the cookie, Bernie. This is what you get for not letting me have one earlier. Alright then, on 3, we'll savor the sweet taste of victory. 1, 2, 3. Crunch! As we all bit into the snacks, the sweet taste rolled through our mouths. Along with it came another sour and tart sensation. The gooey filling wasn't raspberry, but lemon. Cheeky bugger. You win. You got me. Bernard had collapsed to his knees on the ground, head hung low. Took you long enough to give up? Tell us what happened. What's to say? Got it pretty much spot on. I showed up at the house looking for helpless victims and saw an opportunity. All it took was a knock on the door. Victor opened it. He probably just thought I was a trick-or-treater and didn't think of me as a threat. Forced my way inside. When it was clear that I was dangerous, he made a run for it. Grabbed a knife, chased him to his room, and, well, I finished the job there. You sick fuck! I grabbed the doppelganger by the collar and lifted him up into the air. Diamond claws, don't touch. I want to kill you for what you did, you. Before you do that, mind letting him finish his story? Need to ensure I get the whole truth from his lips. What for? He confessed! Call it a formality. I needed these details to do my job as a Reaper correctly. Alright, Kai, let him finish. We then will get our revenge. Kai released his grip of the doppelganger, who weakly flopped back onto the ground. So after you killed Victor, I assume you took his skin. Yeah. When I got the memories that he was hosting a party, I knew I had a chance to make things interesting. Looking into the skin a little, I found a new outfit to put on and waited for someone to show up. So Bernard showed up, quite a bit early, too. I was a little curious as to why I was wearing an old costume. I didn't care enough to question it. I pretended to adjust some of the decorations on the ceiling and already knew I was going to strangle him to death. If I could act, he offered me a cookie. I played along, eating it so that he wouldn't suspect anything. By the taste, it was something I was allergic to. Unflavored sugar cookie. I think that's what tipped me off. Anyway, I figured it was a prank, a joke, just by the way that Bernard was smiling and giggling at me when he swallowed it. When he was done laughing, I waited for him to turn away, and then... Doppelganger made a motion of strangling someone in front of him. He didn't laugh ever again. Shitty joke, Bernard. He struggled for a few seconds before passing out, then I just held on to him to make sure the job was done. It was perfect. There was no damage to the outfit. His skin didn't have any strangulation marks, and the gloves meant I didn't have to worry about anything under my nails. So I moved the body over to the laundry, discarded my prior outfit, and dumped Victor's skin up into the attic. I removed Bernard's costume, took his skin, and perfected my disguise. I figured I was low on time, so I tried to rush the rope decoration, put it back up, and just packed up all the snacks again. Grabbed Victor's house key, locked the door as I left, and then went back to Bernard's car until the time of the party. After all that, all I had to do was put the house key back into the original costume after we found the first body. Not using these person's inherent skittishness would be an easy enough excuse. I thought I got away with it. But it seems that I was wrong. What a shame. I don't get it. Really? Seems pretty clear to me. But I don't get why this monster even killed Victor and Bernard. It's probably just a bloodthirsty monster. Maybe it gets its kicks thinking it's better than us. I have to admit, I also thought that you'd try a bit more to discard some of the evidence pointing to you. Were you simply incompetent? Was this your first time killing? Got it all wrong. Got the who and the how, but you still don't understand the why. Oh? Doppelganger slowly got up to its feet and locked eyes with me. Oh, there's a new pose. Its stance, its demeanor, its attitude seemingly changed and looked more irritated than remorseful. Ah, Bernard, in quotes. Oh, fuck, you want me, you want Grea. Oh, fuck. Those deaths, they were just supposed to be lures. Enticing bait, an irresistible, bittersweet smell. What the hell are you talking about? Speak plainly. Fine, I'll speak so that you simpletons will understand. I killed your two friends, because their deaths would be interesting. Interesting deaths, interesting murders always attract reapers. A reaper doppelganger would be dangerous. Is that right, Grea? I'm surprised you know that much. You'd be surprised, wouldn't you? Reapers are such arrogant creatures. Makes you so damn predictable. So you just killed our friends because it would attract a Reaper? Great job! Because of that you got your ass caught? Agreed. I think it seems like you're the arrogant creature here. Doppelganger let out a guttural laugh that didn't match Bernard's usual tone. Is that what you think? Let me tell you the real truth. The murder's here. I didn't care if I got caught. I had to leave some breadcrumbs or cookie crumbs around to lure you in. Enough evidence to make it worth your while, to tempt you and reel you in nice and slow like. I would have claimed that all my mistakes were about leaving evidence behind or being in a rush, but no, that wasn't the problem. The problem was this! Oh boy! Oh boy! Oh boy. Doppelganger violently pulled at the edges of its face, disfiguring the skin slightly and showing us a glimpse of the monster underneath. This sniveling, rotten, pathetic chicken of a man! All the people I've impersonated, of all the skins I've stolen! This failure has to be one of the most repulsive things I've ever had the displeasure of wearing. Oh! Kai smashed his fist in the doppelganger's face, disfiguring the mask of skin and sending the doppelganger down to the ground. I'm not gonna stand and let you talk shit about my friend like that. You've deserved to share the same face as him. The doppelganger was quick to get back onto his feet, shrugging off the blow and correcting its face. That was unpleasant, but I wouldn't advise doing that again. I'm finally regaining my own attitude, and with it comes a very short temper. Regaining? It's a period where we are quite attuned to the skin we steal. Probably an evolutionary trait that allows us to rapidly blend into communities. Usual personalities are lightly repressed when we take on the guise of those we steal from. Which meant that I was a sniveling coward for the better part of the night, completely ruining my plans. The doppelganger turned its gaze back toward me. If I literally any of their body, any of their personality, any of their skin, would have killed you without mercy while you were preoccupied with your damn investigation. All I have to do was sneak back into the kitchen, grab a knife, then finish you off while you investigated that second body. Instead, I had heart palpitations, nervous sweats, nausea, and a sickening terror that wouldn't leave my mind. So your goal was to lure me in and kill me. That's quite the ambitious goal. I am nothing if not ambitious. Take a look at this beautiful crime scene. Just killed our friends that you get a chance at murdering a Reaper? What kind of sense does that make? You can't kill them. Right? Mio looked to me. I mean, you're servants of death. How could you even die? Doppelganger laughed again and gently patted Mio's shoulder. Feel free to believe what you want, but the truth of the matter is this. They're no more special than you or I. Sure, they've got a few tricks and special powers, but they'll die as easily as a pig in a butcher shop. Except instead of meat, you gain their power to be specific. You become a Reaper yourself. The ability to sense the dead, the power of life and death, the immortality. It all would have been mine. Is that what you heard? Don't play coy with me. I've seen it firsthand. I know the truth. Reapers are born for the same slaughter that kills you. I have to admit, it's poetic, in a way. And tonight was going to be my moment of rebirth, if not for this. Doppelganger looked over at Kai, whose bald fists were already ready to strike. Ahem. Unfortunate circumstance. Why not try your luck now? It seems like you've regained your faculties. Doppelganger huffed and waved a dismissive hand toward me. The moment has passed. You're too on guard now. I would just make a fool of myself, and I'm in no mood to do that. No, go ahead and claim your prizes. I won't interrupt. You may have failed tonight, but there will always be another chance. I suppose so. At least you've accepted your defeat gracefully. Stuck its tongue out at me. Maybe not too gracefully. Rather than linger and let this thing taunt me any further, I walked to the laundry room where Bernard's corpse was. Hey, where are you going? The corpses, of course. Now that the mystery is unraveled, I can collect their souls. Won't take but a moment. Wait, you're a Reaper. You must be able to do something about this situation, right? You can bring Bernard and Victor back, can't you? Why would you do something as silly as that? Why? Because. Kai stammered as he tried to think of some nonsensical reason why to even entertain the bringing these departed souls back. The murders were all for a plot to kill you. Doesn't that make you a little angry? No one deserved to see them back since they were used for such evil. There are many evil deaths in this world. If we were to return them all back, what do you think the world would come to? But... I know what happened took hold of Bernard's soul. Passing on the information of how his death was resolved. I plucked it like a dying leaf off of a branch and tucked it into my pocket. And now for Victor. Wait, please! There's something that we can offer in return. Something that we can trade. Both Kai and Mio stood in front of me, blocking me from entering Victor's room. Do you happen to have another worthy soul on hand? It would have to be someone murdered in a rather spectacular fashion. What? No, of course we don't! Then we have no deal. I phased through them into Victor's room and approached his corpse. Woo! Oh, hey! You know, you two could try and kill one another quickly. It would be spectacular in a sense. Imagine it, two friends dying to give their dead friends another chance at life. Wait, what if we... Not advised trying to kill me. For starters, I'm only one soul. You'd have to pick and choose between Victor and Bernard. That seems heartless, doesn't it? Importantly, I'm certain that I could take the two of you in a fight. I've already killed twice tonight. Don't make me add 2 more. Though your skins would be much better than what I have on now. Come on, tempt me. The cold words were enough to make the other 2 freeze on the spot, which I quietly appreciated. So then he grabbed hold of Victor's soul without much of a fuss. Whee! He even got his fucking owl mask back on. It was hard to hide my smile. I was as giddy as could be. 2 precious souls in one night. What a steal. Ready to walk out and be on my merry way. But Kai and Mio attempted to stop me once again. You two know that this is fruitless, right? If you leave with their souls, then... Tell the world about you, about the existence of Reapers and what you do. Simply raised an eyebrow at them. You would blackmail a Reaper. You think that's a wise idea? Yeah, we'd do it. And go to the whole world and talk about what happened tonight. Really? Let me think about that. I paused and paced around in place as I let my thoughts slip out of my mouth. You two will go to some news outlet and explain how a double murder occurred in your friend's home. Blame on a doppelganger who likely could escape or alter their appearance. Then tell them the Reaper in the form of a beautiful young woman came by and busted the case wide open. A woman that you can't trace, can't identify, and can't prove was with you on the night of the murder. Doppelganger, you seem like a decent voice of reason. Does that sound like a good idea to you? Well, I wouldn't do it, if that's what you're asking. I agree. Sounds like it only get you into more trouble. And let's be honest here. This world is full of myths, monsters, and legends. Even if you told the truth in its entirety, what difference would it make to me if a few more people knew what I was, what we did? You should be honored to have such first-hand knowledge yourself. Besides, do you really think anyone would believe you? If more people know, then more people might try and kill you and your kind. I grinned. I invite them to try. I faced through them again and started walking toward the exit. What are you going to do with fake Bernard? No, it's been a pleasure. Truly, I'll remember this night very fondly for a long, long time, no doubt. This is why I love Halloween so much. So many twisted memories to hold on to. Wait, please! I groaned and reluctantly turned back to face Mio again. If you're going to say something or beg or threaten me, at least make it entertaining. If all you care about is souls, can you at least get rid of that thing? Point at the doppelganger. 2 good people have to die tonight. At least make it right by reaping the soul of the guilty. Well, that just doesn't seem fair. I'm not dead. I don't think I should have my soul reaped just yet. Fuck off! That's just the right thing to do. You know what? You're right, Kai. It would be the right thing to do. Then you'll... But I'm not an arbiter of justice. I'm not judge, jury, or executioner. I'm simply the psychopomp. If you want revenge, if you want justice, if you want a happy ending, then you just have to take matters into your own hands. When you do, I'll be there to give you all the praise your souls could want, all while transporting the guilty or the innocent to their proper place. But not a moment sooner. But... Enough! I do appreciate you playing your part in the show, but I must move on. As should you. You've still got a long life ahead of you. Well, theoretically, you seem young. Maybe smart. Maybe not smart, but young. Make the most of what time you have left. After all, I imagine you'll have to deal with a lot of trouble soon. Good night, and happy Halloween. Damn. Took a step outside and melted away into the darkness. Like rain into the ocean, gone without a trace. And ferried my valuable collections to their rightful place. A cold ending. Sad ending, but... Pitiable. They're just so pitiable. I almost felt bad for those 2 humans, losing 2 friends in a single night. Sure, they tried to get me reaped and probably hate my guts, but I could understand their anger and frustration. Oh, we're Bernard now. I shared it. This night didn't go to plan for me, either. Now I was stuck with this pathetic, cowardly visage until a new opportunity presented itself. These 2 have been bawling their eyes out for the better part of 5 minutes. Sure, I could have killed them, taken one of their appearances and moved on. Damn soft heart that this body has just won't let me do it. Not now, anyway. I Are you two done crying yet? We got work to do. What the hell do you want? Just leave us alone. You're gonna kill us. Just do it already. You're such a waste. No, I got something better in mind. Crouch down to their level and wrap my arms around their shoulders. Why don't we go back to the way things used to be, at least for a little while? Go back? What the hell are you talking about? We can't just pretend that you're Bernard. You know the truth, you're just a monster. Be friends with a rabid bear than pretend that you're Bernard. Oh, that hurts my complex and intricate heart. Now that you're both having a rough time right now, I get it. Let's think about our options here. Rather not have to go hunting for a new disguise, not for a while anyway. But that you two don't want to deal with the burden of some nasty investigations and being blamed for some bad deaths, huh? Push those two noggins together. You know that I'm right. We don't have to be friends, we need to be friends. If only to survive for a little bit longer. Then what? What happens when you abandon us and we're stuck with all these problems? What do you think's gonna happen then? We're screwed and this thing is probably gonna try and murder a Reaper again. I'll be so glum, that's certainly my long-term goal. Contrary to what you believe, I'm a nice guy. Play the part I need. The need for you to do is the same. After all, who knows? Maybe there'll be something in it for you. That was it. Those gloomy faces were finally understanding the truth. They were in a dismal and shitty situation, and I was their one and only savior. I'd actually not have to kill them if they managed to do a good enough job and just listen to me. And if not, I was sure that in their hearts, they knew they were only one bad night away from being replaced. God, the title drop really does kind of bring both of these two entities together. Grea and quote-unquote Bernard. Oh. That is a concerning ending, but really it was not going to end any better whatsoever, was it? That was just not in the cards. There was no getting away from reaping those two souls. The only thing that was getting in the way of it was the doppelganger. Impressive series of 3D models laying out the house and all the various crime scenes here. God. Yeah, there's no getting away from that in the end. The only thing that was getting in the way of reaping those two souls. Hello, Grea. God, what a fun character. Still very, very, very true neutral, isn't it? Not in it for the benefit of anyone at play here. Ooh. Replaced. Replaced. Ah, I really enjoyed that. Even if I completely botched solving the mystery to any degree, in any shape or form. The deduction and reveal was such a bloody fun ride. Bounced me all over the place. Got all three involved here. And in the end, yeah. In the end, it worked out. I don't know if I had enough to put the pieces together myself. I am also just dumb, but alas. That was fun. That was a fun ride. Grea is a very entertaining character. I love her lots. Very cold and pragmatic, but very entertaining. And that made a very interesting cast dynamic. And ultimately, in the end, yeah, it wasn't going to end in any better of a way. But it was a hell of a ride along the way. This has been Replaced by the Mystery Gamedev group. Until next time, until then, be very excited to see what this group puts out. Because so many great talents come together to make mystery games. Fuck yeah, sign me up. To you. Getting on any of the other shape or form is a long-term goal of mine I'm slowly working towards, but we'll get there. Until then,